Okay, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome, you amazing human beings. Guys, it's the last day of October. This is Pounds for Breakfast. I'm your host, as always, very proud to be with you guys here on this beautiful Monday morning. We're about to jump into it, guys, and we have a massive, massive week. Now, I sometimes use this word massive a little bit too often, but I can guarantee you this week is going to be beyond something big, right? We are going to be jumping into a ton of action this week, because we have a lot to go through and a lot of things to deal with, right? We're going to have NFP. We've got the Federal Reserve giving us interest rate decisions. We've got a bunch of fundamentals. And if you guys were with us on our Thursday night pips for dinner, then you should be smashing those trades in terms of US 100 from the buy side, right? We put in a sell on that pips for dinner. We obviously put in a buy once we got that good Apple dates. And if you are in US 100 or US 30 buy positions, you should be smiling this morning because it is a absolute rocket towards the top side. However, the Federal Reserve Wednesday is going to set the tone for the balance of the next 2 months. And I just want to encourage you guys on something that I really spent a lot of time this weekend. A lot of people get to the end of the year and they decide, all right, I'm going to be more healthy. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to watch less TV. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And oftentimes people fail at the end of the year and people don't know why. The reality is you're changing these things that you do in a festive season when things are out of normality, when you aren't in routine. I really want to encourage you guys. It takes 3 weeks to build a habit. Look at the things you want to change at the end of the year and start with them now. We've got 2 months until the end of the year. It is going to be massive. Now, whether that's spending more time in the markets, whether that's eating better, whether that's having time in the gym, I really want to encourage you, start today, right? So that you enter 2023 a whole new person with a whole new attitude, a whole new mindset, and things that you really want to achieve and get done. So I just want to encourage you guys. It hit me really, really big this weekend. I've been spending less time in the gym. I haven't been eating the way I'm supposed to be eating, and I'm getting back into things, setting my 2023 New Year's resolutions, but living in them daily. So I just want to encourage you guys on that front. So just a massive welcome to our community. Every single one of you, absolute machines. If you were part of the MVT's Most Valued Traders for last week, please put up your hand if you attended the evening sessions. Even better, if you are in a US 100 buy with me, then please put up your hand and go ahead and share a screenshot right there because it is massive. We are running thousands and thousands of pips in profit. So just a big shout out to Gawain, Zane, Aiden, Mackenzie. Welcome, Mackenzie. Antisocial, welcome. Let's see. Matata in the house. Beautiful. Nadir, Darlene, Troy, Butwano, Guz Chronovolt, Pumelelo, Lucky. Let's see. Mackenzie, Colin, Carabello, Mixlab, Mark Hooper, Nobile, Joseph, Rais, Alvin 4C. Let's see. Pumelelo, Nswaki, Nosile, Andrew, and Lana. Good morning. You're amazing human beings, guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us and investing your time with us into the markets. Now, we know this is a free broadcast brought to you on behalf of GlobeX 360, the longest established locally and proudly South African broker in the whole of Southern Africa. But because it's free doesn't mean it's free. Your time is one of the most valuable resources that you have and that you're gifted with. And the fact that you're investing that time with us, hugely appreciated. And if we've earned it today, please consider hitting that like button and smashing that subscribe if you already haven't. Now, if you're brand new to the broadcast, if this is your first time in the show, please put your hand up so we can give you a very, very warm GlobeX 360 welcome. Just pop your hands up and we will get to you. All right. So guys, we have a massive week this week. We want to jump in and start having a look at what are the items that are going to be most impactful into the markets. And we're going to start with the news and then we're going to move into some of the fundamentals because obviously that is where the big data sits. Okay. So we are going to jump into, what items do we have to look out for this week? And this article, I'm going to pop this article right now into the Telegram group. So if you do want to go ahead and follow on that, I'm popping that article right there. It's just dropped into the Telegram group. And this is a good summary of what we're going to be speaking about this morning and what items we really need to pay attention to in terms of what is busy happening in the world right now. So in terms of what we need to know this week, obviously the very biggest item, and we'll get to it in the fundamental data, Federal Reserve meeting on Wednesday. Right, again, that's the interest rate decision that will be streamed live for those of you who have $100 accounts or more. We'll be having pips for dinner, Fed interest rate decision, and that's going to be massive, right? That interest rate decision is going to rock the markets. Now, whether the Federal Reserve comes in with a 75 basis point hike, there's a high estimate that this is going to be the case. And then we have the jobs reports, the NFP non-farm payrolls coming out on Friday. That will also be a special broadcast that we will be live together in the markets on that particular one. So those two events on their own are going to be huge, right? That is where the focus is going to be. And based on what happens there, we're essentially going to see the next 2 months, the tone being set for the dollar, for indices, for commodities. So if you want to get in on that, that's going to be big. And we are going to be looking at swing trading a lot of these positions long term. Okay, so before those big data announcements come in, all of those shows will start slightly earlier. We'll go through the data. What does the past data say about the future in terms of the interest rate decisions? What are analysts saying? And then we'll start to look at taking advantage of these markets. Now, I just want to point out and make it clear for everybody, our job is not to predict the market. Our job is to be prepared and ready for whatever outcome comes our way, that we can capitalize on that move. Just a hint there, right? I do have a very good idea of what is going to happen, and I will share my thoughts in those special premium edition shows. So a lot of people ask what's the difference between premium and just our normal sessions. Pounds for Breakfast is a free broadcast every single day. Our premium sessions are for those of you that have your $100 account, $100 or more in your live trading account. So those are our premium edition shows. So Mark K, welcome. Peter van Wyk, Andrew, Rishmi, welcome. Goodwin, Ruan, and I believe I greeted Lana and Kenny. Good morning, you amazing human beings. So again, just another push, guys. Start with those New Year's resolutions. So we are going to be looking out for that jobs data. Now, quickly having a look at some of the fundamentals, because that is where we're going to be spending a lot of our attention this morning, mapping out what the week has to offer for us. I want us to have a look really quickly at the economic calendar just for today, right? We don't have a ton happening in the world and in the markets. A fairly quiet day as always, being Monday. We don't have always a lot of things happening. However, one item I do want to pull your attention to is going to be the CPI that is going to come out for the euro. Now, again, high CPI numbers, right, tend to lead to be an early indicator towards inflation. Consumer price index, CPI is high. It means that consumers are paying more and more for everyday goods, right? Normal CPI is everything that a consumer pays for. Core CPI will be all items excluding the high volatility ones, such as energy and food, right? So high CPI number looks good short term. The euro might pick up in value if that CPI number is higher, but it means that the interest rate and the economic policies being imposed on the euro to bring down inflation are not working because things are still getting more expensive. So we've covered this quite a bit in detail, but for those of you who are brand new to the show, that's just a quick explanation there. So positive number has an immediate net positive impact on the euro, but it is against economic policies and will have a bigger downturn. Now, based on what we're seeing on the dollar, we're seeing a lot of the other sort of major currencies following suit, and they're starting to, rather than have that immediate bull impact, they're starting to already start to see a little bit of a decline. So for the balance of Monday, really not much coming up, but having a look at the balance of the week, you can see the CPI for today is going to be of most importance. Tuesday, we have quite a bit of data. That's going to be the 1st of November, brand new month. And then we've got some ISM manufacturing PMI, as well as JOLTS job openings, right? Those two items, as well as the PMI on the pound, are going to be the main dominating factors for tomorrow. Now, this will happen on our dollars for lunch. We will have an extended session to cover, and we will close at probably about 4:15 in the afternoon. We will cover and trade these fundamentals live tomorrow in our dollars for lunch. Looking at Wednesday, right, our big interest rate decision is going to be happening at 8 p.m. on Wednesday evening. So that is again going to be a special broadcast. We are going to dive into the data. We're going to trade it live, and we're going to start a little bit earlier, cover all the past interest rate decisions. And I feel for the first time, right, there is that high possibility we get that full 100 basis point hike or 1% hike. There's a possibility, but I do feel for the first time we'll start to see interest rate decisions correlated with past recessions. Remember, when interest rates come in, right, we generally see on past dates, on the past 10, 20 recessions, we've seen that past data shows that interest rate hikes generally mean a weaker dollar and stock markets thrive. We haven't seen that over the balance of 2022, and we could see markets come back into normality with this particular one. So you're looking for long swings on indices, on commodities. this is going to be the opportunity to catch a big move. All right, so let's have a look at what else is available to us on Thursday. We're going to see some pound data dominated morning and afternoon. Services PMI, composite PMI, BOE interest rate decision on the pound, right? So that is going to be the interest rate decision. That's going to rock the pound. There's again another 75 basis points expected on that. We'll get some initial jobless claims, and that is obviously going to count towards that next month. And then Friday, the big day, is we're going to have NFP at 2:30 on Friday. So Dollars for Lunch Friday will be a little bit of an earlier broadcast as we cover and prep and set up for that move. Now, bear in mind, because Wednesday is going to be massive, because Thursday is going to be massive, it means that some of the intraday trading volumes on Tuesday as well as Thursday could move a bit slow, right? So again, being Mondays, you guys know I'm a little bit cautious about the positions I take. I'm really looking for market momentum, which we're going to have a look at in a second. But ultimately, you just want to be cautious as these markets evolve and as these markets push. So wrapping up the news for this morning, we are now going to transition into some live trading. Before we get some more analysis done, we'll jump into some live trading, and then we'll dive into some of the market data and what we could see happening in the markets. Now, moving into and just quickly understanding before we get live on the markets, markets going to be live in about 30 seconds. I just want to point out this is currently the dollar index that we're looking at. And a lot of people are asking questions on Friday saying, hey, but we can see that the dollar index is not rising, but stock markets are rising. What is happening here, right? Very simple. In most cases, the dollar is the dominant driving factor when we see commodities indices rise and or fall. If a commodity or indice rises or falls without much impact on the dollar index, it means that that commodity, that index, that stock market is the driving factor, right? So in most cases, when the dollar falls, indices rise, but it's also possible for indices to rise and the dollar to do nothing because stock markets are performing, right? Remember, when you have a quote and a base and a quote currency, either one could be the driving factor. In most cases, it is the dollar. But when we see the dollar stall out and we see indice markets rally, that is a healthy sign that the stock markets are coming back into normality. Okay, so quickly having a look at US 30 this morning, we just want to understand where we are in the current structure of price. Now, again, I want to just show you that Friday bull run that we ended up having. This is the 28th, right? We took a position, right, as the stock markets ended up opening and closing. In terms of our pips for dinner, markets have pushed over, and now we're starting to see what is very similar to a scallop, right? A scallop means that markets are pushing and more meandering sideways, and once we start to see those lower lows and the reduction in lower highs, then that is when a scallop is best in its formation to start that breakout process. Something else I just want to point out on the RSI this morning is that we are getting that descending channel in the RSI. Okay, let's just have a look here. Okay, yeah, so we started getting divergence quite a bit before we started seeing the sideways movement, right? So I just want to point out on the US 30, we started getting higher highs and we started getting those lower highs on the RSI 5 minutes, showing us that we're having that divergence on these different indicators. So really an early indicator that we could be losing momentum to the top side. The question is this morning, are we going to get a retracement of Friday's bull run? Now again, Friday I did point out the fact that in most cases, most of the Fridays we've seen thus far have been what we look at as bear days, with last Friday being one of the bull days. Now again, when we look at pips for dinner that we traded on Thursday evening, we got markets shooting down with the Amazon data that came out first on Thursday evening. Apple posted positive, and that is where we put in some buys at this market bottom right there, right? We are currently sitting, if you're with us in that session, you've held your positions as I have, you should be sitting at this point in time well over 5,500 pips per position. Now, because we have quite a volatile week this week, right? Remember, market volumes could be a little bit cautious to, in essence, build any sort of main trajectory or direction before we start to get NFP or any serious amount of market data. In addition to that, where we are now, and there's a 1 hour time frame, this is US30 that we're currently looking at, NASDAQ, we are currently floating between two main levels, right? So we have no major resistance slash support in our immediate area, right? And our range for the day is extremely thin for this current session and for this current day. Yesterday's range, or Friday's range, the last trading day, was obviously quite wide, but we have no immediate market direction as we speak at this exact moment in time. I do believe for an opportunity, we do have some fairly good market structure from a micro market structure perspective. And should you want to scalp out US30 this morning, as well as NASDAQ, that is going to be the market structure. I'm pretty sure US30 has a very similar structure. Let's give a look. Okay, so US30 has a very similar structure. However, that scallop, that end of, you got a scallop within a scallop, right? This microstructure is starting to bend towards the downside. And it certainly seems that US30 does want to start trending towards the downside. From about 7 this morning, we've started that downwards trend on US30. So just something to pay attention to. For a buy breakout, which is also very likely, we could see that stock markets could start performing leading up to some of this interest rate decision. Remember, past data has shown that interest rate increases have actually benefited the stock market, both short-term and long-term. So an opportunity that exists this morning is looking at US30 on 1 minute, looking at NASDAQ on 1 minute, and essentially looking for a NASDAQ break outside this 11,507 mark, as well as a correlating break on US30. Now on US30, another great indicator that's going to give us aid to any sort of long positions this morning would be our 500 period SMA. That will give us some dynamic resistance that we could essentially use to break out. It also correlates with, you know, the last zone we need to get through from a buy side direction towards the top side. So I'm obviously in a buy on indices already. So I have no reason to hedge into a sell. Stop loss is currently being pulled with my trade as I go towards the top side. And I'll probably tighten up to the 88.2 this morning in terms of that next fib level that we could end up pulling down towards the downside. So in terms of volume this morning, we're not seeing a lot of volume, right? Very, very slow, as it generally is on Mondays. And that's why we often start with a dollars for lunch session, just purely because there isn't a lot of volume looking at a Monday morning. However, it doesn't mean we can't use that time to analyze and be prepared for some of the bigger moves. So we are going to move into FX analysis, and let's go ahead and jump in and have a look at what the rest of the markets are doing as we jump in and have a look. We already started with the dollar index. We are going to have a look at what the euro is currently up to. And again, great opportunities exist as we currently speak on the euro. Again, all depending on what we see Wednesday with that Fed interest rate decision. And again, whether we see history repeat itself and start to mean that we get that stronger momentum on indices, a weaker dollar with an interest rate decision on Wednesday, that could fuel the perfect swing trade buy on the euro. Now, I said this a couple of weeks ago to one or two people that I was meeting with, that the euro, the pound is an extremely good value proposition territory. What do I mean by that? Well, the euro is extremely cheap. The pound is extremely cheap, right? We have the euro and the pound, you know, trading blows at that parity level. We've never seen that before. There was a stage in time where the pound was almost double the dollar's value, right? It was the most valuable currency in the world. We're not seeing that anymore. And what does that mean? Does it mean the pound is sinking? Does it mean the euro is sinking? Possibly, but it also means there's a great value proposition that the euro is extremely cheap. And it means that there's a lot of top side and not much downside for the euro available. So a euro USD buy is definitely on the cards. And again, a weaker dollar is definitely going to play into the hands of a euro USD buy opportunity. Just to point out and just make this clear for everybody, we do on a 1 hour time frame, just with a bit of a zoom in here, we are coming back to support, right? And that is sitting at around about €1 buying 99 cents and 10 pips. So 0.9910 is going to be a dynamic support area, but just taking into account, we have pushed in the past, and I just want to make you aware of this, up to 90 pips through support in the past. So if you're looking at a long position, right, and we will more likely take this closer to Wednesday, once we know the Federal Reserve's direction, we may be looking at a long position on Euro USD towards that top side. We've got the breakout, we've got the retest, and now we can look for that long position towards top side. Euro USD in a long-term breakout, and this could be a massive swing trade, right? We could see Euro USD return to, that 122 mark, that wasn't all too far ago, right? Just over a year ago to this date, a year and a half from, ago, we were sitting, €1 buying $1.21, right? And just to give you an indication, that's round about 2,000 pips to the top side per position. So 2,000 pips on FX is massive. Doesn't mean much on indices. We do that on a daily basis in indices, but for an FX pair with low margin requirements and high gearing, that could obviously be a monster trade towards that top side. Now I'm just quickly flicking back to NASDAQ. I just want to make sure we are obviously keeping that in track. Just want to flick back to US30. We're still keeping that in track. Okay, good stuff. So also bearing in mind, NASDAQ has broken already, right? So NASDAQ has started that break towards the downside, and it's starting its next leg. So we got that little bit of a move a little bit late. We didn't get it on the London Open. So we're seeing that NASDAQ pop towards the downside, popped out for around about 60 pips. And it's more than likely we are going to then start to see that continuation towards that downside. Now, I just want to see if there's a little bit of price action here that could help us from a resistance/support perspective, and there is. So what I'll do in this case is I'm going to hedge a downside trade, or I'm going to hedge a sell position on my NASDAQ. And it's a little bit late from an entry perspective. I just want to make sure I'm actually executing the right trade here. A little bit late from an entry perspective. I would have liked to have caught it or put an alert there. But we are, remember, moving to a brand new platform extremely soon. So I've picked those of you who are MVTs who attended all the sessions with us last week, and we are going to be inviting you to our Insiders program, which means that you get to assist us with testing, comments, and feedback on new technology that we are rolling out. Now, there's a ton of things in the pipeline for this week. So if you are going to be part of the Insider program, you're going to see a lot of new things that is going to change the way we trade things in a massive way. So from tomorrow, I would have ideally liked to have spent this week in the new platform. I will more than likely start to trade in the new platform on all of the premium sessions. So dollars for lunch, and if we have a pips for dinner session, at this point in time, we only have Wednesday planned in as a pips for dinner, but dollars for lunch, I will be trading in the brand new platform. Again, I've shortlisted those names that we're going to be inviting, and I will be sending you guys all a message as well as an email for a training session on the new platform, so you fully understand all the forms and features. If I get the tick and the go ahead from the executive team to go ahead and do so. But we are going to be having a lot of fun, and we will be trading in the new platform in all of our new sessions. Now, pending order setups, trailing stops, risk management is just on another level there. So if you're still struggling, with some of these risk management items, with, some of these other things, the platform really, makes it extremely simple. Now, you still need to know the theory, and that is why our new academy is launching extremely soon. We're just finalizing some of the features to lock away content for those of you who have your live accounts. We don't just want, the general public to come and just jump in and get all the value and the benefits that we've built for those of you who are Globex 360 clients. Again, guys, there's no better place to be. If you're watching me right now, you don't have a Globex 360 live account. I don't know what more I can do to explain and convince and convey to you that through all my years as a trader, I've been at different brokerages. I've taken accounts from 50,000 Rand to 500,000. They say we're not paying, it's illegal trading activity. Or you do a withdrawal and there's delays, or you run some volumes and they say this, we need to double check. Let me tell you that we have clients on a weekly basis that go from 200,000 Rand to 1.4 million Rand. They get paid the same day, right? Because why? Globex's risk management system means we're not taking the risks. We're not holding all these trades internally. We're executing towards liquidity. And it doesn't matter if you go from 1,000 Rand to 100 million Rand, they're always in a position to be able to pay, because again, they are your partner. They are your broker in the markets. They're not trading against you. So again, if you need to hear it from some guy on Instagram, or you need to hear it from a seasoned trader, take my word for it. You need to be with Globex 360. If you're somewhere else, stay there, enjoy the time. When you fail to get withdrawals, come and here's your home. We'll welcome you with open hands, as always, right? There's guys out there, and as it gets to December, it gets silly season. You're going to start to see there's going to be some crazy things. People are going to be struggling. Okay, so just having a look at the rest of the markets. So we touched on Euro USD. Let's have a look at USD ZAR because for last week's perspective, USD ZAR pushed a little bit further than what we really wanted to. We were looking at opportunities for entry. I just want to double check and confirm. I believe it was at this point in time. So we're back at that point of entry. However, when USD ZAR steps out of line, so steps out of market structure, I'm generally a little bit cautious. We do sometimes see a retest, right, of market structure. Again, this USD ZAR currently looking at a 4-hour time frame, but I generally see when USD ZAR steps out of structure, we generally start a little bit of a change in momentum. Now, I would like that, and I'm open and welcome to that because again, should we get a weaker dollar, I'm not too concerned about USD ZAR. For those of you who are traveling, who are spending dollars, again, a stronger rand would be beneficial to you. For those of you earning in dollars and converting into rands, not ideal. However, the big opportunity sits in indices. The big opportunity sits into currency. So we will look at USD ZAR. I'm not too keen on getting in long here, just because I don't want to get caught in a retest. Should we break through structure, right? So should we go through structure and start to make a attempt through this market high of this bull run, then anything above 1854, absolutely, right? I would be more than happy to get long and obviously jump into that. Now, quickly having a look from a commodity standpoint, we are going to start off with gold here this morning, and gold is really struggling to stay and deal with this diagonal resistance here. We've spoken about this in previous sessions. I'm looking at a 15-minute time frame. I'll switch to a 30, but potentially even an hour. And I just want to show you guys this really quickly. For those of you, who are mapping out, commodities and kind of struggling a little bit with really getting a handle on, where this resistance currently sits. I just want to point out the fact that, I got a couple inboxes of people asking, but are we sure resistance isn't higher on gold? And we are 100% sure for a couple reasons, right? When the dollar had that breakout strength at the beginning of this month, right, the first week of October, we clearly got that breakout strength, and we clearly got market structure telling us that that gold was outside of structure, right? Dollar weakness, apologies, I might have said dollar strength. Dollar weakness forced that gold strength. Remember, the dollar falls, commodities rise, provided the commodities, the base currency, and the dollar is the quote currency. So XAU USD, XUG USD, BTC USD, anything where the dollar is a quote currency, when the dollar falls in value, that quotes or that pair rises. So this is most certainly a breakout, and that confirms that our diagonal is correct. However, gold is having a really hard time, not only staying above this level, right, which we were for the majority of last week, but really just making a decision in terms of where it's going. Now, this is a common sign of indecision, right? That markets really going over and past the fundamental zone are really failing to maintain that level long term. Again, just want to point out, if we have a look at a weekly time frame, right, the level above us has been a level that we've been dealing with for well over 2 years, right? So meaning the 1,690, so 1690, $1,690 to an ounce of gold has been a substantial level for the stability in the future of gold prices. That sits just north of us, so we've got quite a bit of distance to cover before gold goes back into its normal stomping grounds. But bear in mind, we've got this diagonal resistance at this point in time, right? There is, from just a pure momentum perspective, it is wise to be in a sell on gold. However, based on what we could see from the Federal Reserve, a weaker dollar, right, a underperforming jobs or NFP report this Friday, that could have immediate and massive negative effect on the dollar. And understand this when I say that will set the tone for the next 2 months. So when I say this week is massive, I mean this week's massive in the sense that what happens this week will determine the direction of currencies, commodities, indices, potentially even crypto for the balance of the next 2 months. So just obviously fully understanding that, and you just need to take that into consideration when looking at some of these positions. So today we don't have all too much really happening in the markets. We may see a immediate short-term sell-off and retracement, looking at US 100, potentially even US 30. Again, just a correction of this bull run on Saturday or Friday, sorry. So in a short-term sell, absolutely more than likely possible, depending where you've sold. Depending where you've sold, you should already be in profit. And I would just, put in a trailing stop here, potentially looking at this market structure. I mean, there's 1,500 points to resistance. So I would basically do 1,500 point trailing on this scalp position. So if markets pull down, it won't pull down further than, where our resistance level currently sits. So that's all we want to basically have here. And outside of that, I think we'll only start to see some volume come in on the New York Stock Exchange open. Again, that's going to be happening at 3:30 this afternoon. We are going to start at 3:15 for our dollars for lunch session. We will be dealing with that. We're currently running just over $10,000 this morning on that US 100 buy position. So a hedge just means that if we continue to buy, right, whatever losses I make on the sell would essentially count towards my profits in the buy. And if we continue to sell, whatever gains that I make on the sell that comes off my buy, I'm net positive. So just so you understand, in this current position, no matter which way the markets go, I'm going to remain net neutral, right? If markets pop up to the top side, I will take an immediate loss on the sell, but my buy will still be running in profit. Excuse me. Okay. So outside of that, not too much really happening this morning. We can give a quick look at Brent. My throat is absolutely destroyed. Yeah, my throat is extremely sore. Sorry, guys. I think someone will bring me water now if the team is watching. But regardless, okay. Having a look at the price of Brent. So guys, I just want to get some water quickly from the team, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, there we go. The joys of having a bully, right? There's you never know when a hare's going to attack you in a live session. Okay. So in terms of Brent, right, Brent is really failing to stay above that $93. $94 is obviously the key value proposition that I was looking at. And I really don't think we're going to see much activity on Brent until we get that direction on the dollar. Having a quick look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still in a key position for that breakout zone. But again, not much momentum. A weak dollar, right, and a underperforming NFT from a dollar perspective could be exactly what Bitcoin needs to start fueling some sort of rally. Now again, on Bitcoin, right, we could very well see some gains and especially pushes towards that $28,000 zone. So a lot of value still to be had looking at the price of Bitcoin. Now, considering, we could get to $28,000, we're looking at about an $8,000 gain. So every $2,000 on Bitcoin represents about 10% of its value. So we could see, up to 40% move on Bitcoin in the next little bit of a season. Now, again, a stronger dollar, right, could cause Bitcoin to push back into, that support zone. But ultimately, I do suspect we could start to see some weaker dollar activity again. The Federal Reserve needs to see that weaker dollar as we move into the end of the season to bring down inflation. It's in line with some of their financial forecasts and some of the financial policies they're putting in place. So I do believe this morning is going to be a little bit slow. We're not going to see much momentum on the markets. If you are in some sort of NAS sell from this morning, you should be at about a break-even position. It's up to you whether you want to hold that. We're not seeing a ton of momentum to the downside. And again, that is because Wednesday is coming up. That is because Friday is coming up. after the big tech moves last week, we generally see after a ton of volatility, markets try to really establish where do they sit in the general view of things for that next trading week. So again, we're going to have a lot of, big movements, I believe, in most of the New York Stock Exchange sessions. So that is definitely where you want to be a part of. We will be sending out the email for the Dollars for Lunch session before 12 o'clock today. So the team already has the link. They're obviously going to pop that out to you. If you have a live account with more than $100, you will be receiving your email link. Now, guys, if you don't get that link, please, you'll see that I have put a support bot link into the groups. If you don't get your link, please go ahead and just chat with the bot, contact support, and ask them to check your account. It can be that your email is incorrect. It can be that your balance is low. It's all about, just following up with, what is wrong with your account. I get a lot of people calling and messaging as I go live in Dollars for Lunch. And just understand, guys, I can't be checking messages and sending you links and asking you for screenshots as I'm going live. It's just not possible, right? So please understand that. So if you don't have your email by 1, right, please go ahead and reach out to support. But first, check your junk, check your spam folders, because it's always possible for you to obviously get lost in that, right? I agree. So Lucky saying, let's not risk, guys, save ourselves Wednesday and Friday. That's absolutely my tactic, right? So again, remember, leading up into Thursday, I was pretty happy to stay cash in pocket, to have a lot more margin on my account, have a lot more maneuverability to take positions on these bigger trades. So again, I would say stick to price action. Where there is opportunities, look for them. If they meet your requirements, take them, but really consider not getting yourself tied into a position before. So trading today, I don't think is an issue. Trading tomorrow morning, I don't think is an issue. But obviously Wednesday morning, we are going to be cautious with our positionings. In the Dollars for Lunch session, I'm going to try and get us into positions early on that I believe we could see as a result of Wednesday. So if I believe, as an example, that commodities would fall on Wednesday's data announcements, I'm starting to look at the data now, I'm going to try and get us in short positions in the Dollars for Lunch sessions. As I promised you, I want to get us in more swing trades, more long-term day trades, as opposed to from the scalping perspective. So I'm going to try and get us into those long-term positions for the outlook that I expect to see in these bigger sessions in terms of the fundamental data releases. But yes, stay cash in pocket, preserve your energy, because obviously Wednesday and Friday is going to be massive. It's something you want to be a part of. So again, get your live account sorted out. We will be popping that link through to you. And we are going to be having, as always, we're going to have those live competitions Wednesday as well as Friday. So if you want to be a part of that, we are going to be giving away a couple $1,000s in both of those sessions towards credits in your live accounts. And that is going to be about predicting the price. So we're going to play a cool game where we essentially ask you at a certain candle close, who's going to be closest to a particular price. We'll be doing other giveaways for questions and answers as well in both Wednesday and Friday's sessions. So those are going to be massive. You don't want to miss that out. Those Wednesday Pips for Dinner links will go out on Wednesday morning. So if you fund only by lunchtime on Wednesday, you're gonna miss out. You want to get in early. Once the link goes out, I'm not sending it to anybody. So you want to be part and parcel of that. Now, guys, it is Monday. It is the last day of the month. I hope you guys start this Monday right and end this week on absolute fire. We're going to have a big one, as we always do. But I think this week is going to be a whole bunch more special. Again, a lot of announcements, a lot of new technology, a lot of features we're going to be bringing in. But again, you obviously want to stay tuned for that. I will be announcing a lot of these things in the premium sessions. I would like for those of you who are our clients with at least $100 or more to get the first come, first serve, that you're aware and have benefits of a lot of these services before the rest of the public. But I can promise you in the very near future, we are going to be announcing this as a general announcement. So if you're not part and parcel, don't feel too sad. You will get your chance to participate. Again, guys, have an amazing morning. I will see you guys Dollars for Lunch 3:15 this afternoon. We're going to look at the New York Stock Exchange, understand where the volume in these markets are going. I'm going to prepare, as I promised this week, some pending orders for those of you who have your live accounts. I'll be giving you my orders, my personal levels, before we even take a trade. So for those of you who want to set up pending orders to catch some of those orders without me just trading live or buying and selling, I'll be giving some market structures and breakout points for those of you who want to capitalize on some pending order activity. So that's going to be big, and we're going to change things up this week in terms of that structure. But yes, very, very excited for this week. I hope you are too. And remember, as always, to live and trade the Globex 360 way. Guys, I will see you all dollars for lunch. That's going to be 3:15. Until then, have an amazing afternoon and day. Goodbye.